Oh boy. The president of the SRC, college students, if there are faculty members here, I salute you. The leaders of my political party that came here with me, and in particular my brother, my friend and a mentor, Abdul Shakur, who is also the Deputy State Attorney in the Upper West region, who found space out of his busy schedule to accompany me here this evening. I salute you. I recall that in media discussions in the Upper West region, it was the Radio Progress that started newspaper discussions in the Upper West region. And it was 4 young guys that started media discussions in the Upper West region. At the time, we got to the studios and the 4 of us would sit and choose the topics that were to be discussed together. And this is how we did it. We'll agree that on this particular topic you will speak against, and on this other one, this one will speak against. We did not engage. We did not engage in political discussions. We chose topics from agriculture, we chose topics from education, and we chose topics from health. And I recall that it was lawyer Shakur, Abdullah Yabora, and Isaac Amina that led the discussions. Today, these young guys have served as a source of motivation to me. They taught me something about time, and I'm disappointed as a person that just on Friday, I got a call from your SRC to come and join you in your week celebration. But because of the special space and place of this university in my life, I agreed to come. And I was given a time for 9 o'clock today. By 8 o'clock I was ready. And when I was about taking off, I got a call that I should rather come at 10:30. And when I was ready at 10 o'clock, I got a call that I should come at 11:30. And when I was ready at 11 o'clock to come at 11:30, I was told that I should come at 4 o'clock. And at 3:30, my party leaders came to me so we could come here at 4 o'clock, and I was told to hold on. So I got so disappointed that I had to take a flight to Tamale to fuel my car to Wa, just to come and participate with my brothers and sisters on a campus celebration, only to be met with this height of frustration. Certainly, if we continue this way, it means that our future will certainly not be the place for others to come. Because obviously, as young people, the destiny of this nation is in our hands. We have to make things different from what we have seen today. We have to show that time is life. Time is not money. Time is life. And when you waste somebody's time, you've wasted the person's life. You've wasted the person's opportunity. So I want to urge the SRC and the organizers for this function that because I just think that I have to be here, I stayed all this while. And I want to ensure that this program is successful. I've been given a topic to come and speak of the Ghanaian youth in modern politics. But coming here to realize that you are merry-making, it's difficult for me to engage in a speech that will take away your excitement. But I just want to touch on a few things. One, I will talk a little about the youth of yesterday, what they did, so we can compare with the youth of today, such that we can chart a path for the youth for tomorrow. The youth of yesterday were those that were politically alive, those that used their energies to fight and combat slavery in this country. They used their energies to ensure that we did not allow foreign domination. Eventually, the youth of yesterday were able to marshal their efforts to torpedo the forces of the colonial administration. At independence, our first president, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was at the age of 42. His economic advisor, J.H. Mensah, was at the age of 27. They left for us a legacy that at any point in history we are proud of. A legacy that 10 years after the overthrow of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, it was obvious that we had surplus in agriculture, we had surplus in industry, we had surplus in electricity, we have surplus in almost every facet of our economy. 10 years after the overthrow of Nkrumah, we had a Black Star Line, which was a national shipping line. 10 years after the overthrow of Nkrumah, we had a national airline called the Ghana Airways. 10 years after the overthrow of Nkrumah, we had our own telecommunication system called the Ghana Telecom. And you can count the many factories and industries that existed among us. The youth played a pivotal role in the reconstruction of the colonial legacy, shaped our destiny, and above all, they ensured that education came to the north. The northerners were seen as hewers of woods and drawers of water. Their labor was exploited in the gold mines and in the forests. They were eaten raw by lions and other animals in the bush. But Nkrumah thought that the northerner was equally a Ghanaian and deserved some education, and therefore education ruled to the northern part of this country. Several years after that, we have seen that the youth today are the ones that are the gossipers. The youth today are the ones that will carry the briefcase of well-to-do businessmen. And when they carry the briefcases, they are not talking ideas. They are thinking about dropping the briefcase and getting something out of that. That is the lot of the youth. The youth today are those that will go out there and do things that have no ideological orientation, but are all out for material gains. The youth today are those that are instructed to carry stones, to carry cudgels, and to go and set ablaze places of importance. The youth today are those that cast aspersions and insult one another. The youth today are those that virtually are headless. We are directed to move to this direction, and we take on. A few that have decided that we will not go that way, we are seen as the odd ones. But I have hope that the new crop of young people that are coming are tired of the material things that have been used to influence us. And to chart a course, it means in spite of the fact that we are engaged in multi-party democracy, we have to use our conscience and take our nation serious. The youth must shun tribalism. The youth must shun ethnocentric ideas that tend to divide and not unite us. That is the kind of youth that I'm looking for. So if you ask me to talk about the youth in modern politics, I'll say that the youth in modern politics today largely are those that are sent on the street to insult political opponents, to throw stones, to organize to beat each other, and to do all the rough things. And when the benefit comes, the youth certainly will not enjoy it. In the Upper West region, I can give you a classic example. When young people were asked to move to the Regional Coordinating Council and to go and hijack a tender box, they took the tender box for the interest of those who have money and those who are in the helm of affairs. After the tender was hijacked and the regional minister was dismissed, what did they get? They got material for instant consumption, and their lives have been made worse. It is in the Upper West region and in many parts that you realize that anytime we nominate a DCE, people will go on the streets to protest why that person is not going to be, because they had a favorite person and that person was not. Question you ask yourself, who nominated the DCE, and is the DCE coming from amongst you? So let us re-energize ourselves, redirect our energies for the positive cause of our people. See how we'll be able to bring education to their doorsteps. See how we'll be able to bring development and opportunities to our people. See how to use our education for the betterment of our people. That should be the role of the modern youth in Ghanaian politics. And I'm excited that all of you are here. And let me conclude by saying that in my life, I've never allowed somebody to dictate for me. I will dictate for myself. I've said that politics is an immaculate business, but it has been made dirty by those who are dirty. Because politics is about everything in life. If you go to make your hair do, there is politics in it because you are paying taxes indirectly, and those taxes are determined by a politician. If you are in this university, you are paying school fees, and all the other things that go on campus are determined largely by a politician. And a classic example is whether UDSY campus should become a fully fledged autonomous university or not is in the hands of a politician. If you are in this school and you do not have a banking facility where you can go and do simple bank transaction, and you need to go to town to go and do that, it is an act of politics that has denied you. If you have to feed, the cost of feeding is determined largely by the price of the food, which is influenced by the level of taxes in the country. So therefore, politics is about everything. It is almost about life and death. My brothers, my sisters, you either do politics or politics will do you. So I urge you to make a choice and do not allow choice to make you. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and may God bless us.